Karen's obsession with interfering in my life had reached a new level of delusion. After the armed HOA fiasco, one would think she'd take a hint. But no, she decided that now the target wasn't just me or my family, but my guests. That week, I was hosting a delegation of visiting ambassadors at the ranch. They were here for a private retreat, a mix of diplomacy, horseback riding, and quiet discussions away from the public eye. The barn had been cleared, the guest cabins prepared, and security quietly posted along the perimeter. Everything was low-key, professional, and completely legal. And of course, Karen had somehow caught wind of it. Around mid-morning, I saw her lurking by the gate in binoculars. Within minutes, my phone rang. The caller ID read 911. Karen had dialed. They're harboring foreign dignitaries illegally on private property. Immediate intervention required. Her shrill voice screeched over the line. This is a national security threat. I sighed. My lawyer and I had anticipated her escalation, so we had already informed local authorities and posted security alerts. The deputies on duty were ready, cameras were rolling, and I was standing calmly by the driveway watching her antics. 10 minutes later, the first patrol car arrived. Karen, thinking she had orchestrated a grand exposure, waved her arms dramatically, pointing toward the main lodge. They're here. You have to see it. The deputies stepped out, scanning the property. That's when the ambassadors began to emerge, one, then another, all impeccably dressed, waving politely. Their diplomatic IDs were visible, and the lead deputy immediately recognized them. Karen's jaw dropped. That can't be legal. They're foreign officials. You're hiding them here. The deputy calmly replied, Ma'am, they are our diplomatic guests. Their presence is lawful, requested, and fully coordinated with local authorities. You, however, have made multiple false 911 calls attempting to interfere with protected operations. You are now in violation of harassment statutes and obstruction of law enforcement duties. Karen tried to argue, flailing wildly, but the cameras had already recorded every movement. Her stalking, her phone calls, even her attempt to approach the property. It was undeniable. Within minutes, she was handcuffed again, her protests drowned out by the formal authority of law. The ambassadors, meanwhile, remained entirely unbothered, sipping tea on the veranda as my daughter and I guided the deputies through the situation. By nightfall, the news had spread. HOA woman arrested for attempting to interfere with diplomatic guests at private ranch. Karen was once again the laughingstock of the county. This time, her antics weren't just embarrassing. They had potential international ramifications if anyone hadn't recognized her meddling as illegal. From that day forward, she was barred from approaching my property for any reason. The local authorities even issued a restraining order after reviewing her repeated attempts to disrupt private, lawful activities. My guests enjoyed their stay in peace, the ranch remained secure, and Karen had escalated herself from local nuisance to a legal liability so severe that even her own former HOA allies were terrified to speak with her. She had thought she could create chaos by calling in reinforcements and alarms. Instead, she became a case study in harassment, and my ranch, once again, stood untouchable.